Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big topics. Today, we're asking a huge question. Is the age of the cell tower coming to an end?
I mean, this is the question, right? You've got thousands of new satellites blanketing the sky from companies like SpaceX. It feels like we're living in the future, and it promises to completely change how we all stay connected. So what's the deal? Are the days of that trusty old cell tower really numbered?
To really get to the bottom of this, we first have to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this new space race. This isn't some niche gadget for hikers anymore. We are talking about a full-blown global phenomenon. And if you want proof, just look at this number, 4 million plus. By late 2024, that's how many subscribers SpaceX's Starlink had, and it's growing like crazy. That kind of explosive growth tells you one thing. There is a massive, and I mean massive, unmet need for internet in places the old networks just can't touch. Now, Starlink gets all the headlines with its, nearly 6,000 satellites up there, but they are far from the only game in town. You've got heavy hitters like Amazon jumping in with their own huge plans, and you've also got these really interesting specialized companies building what are basically cell towers in space designed to talk directly to the phone that's already in your pocket. So let's do it. Let's put them head to head. How do these shiny new networks in the sky actually stack up against the cell towers we depend on every single day? Let's break it down. Okay, round one, coverage. And honestly, this is a knockout. It's not even a contest. Satellites can beam a signal to the middle of the Pacific Ocean, to a research base in Antarctica, or to a town hit by a hurricane. Cell towers are great, but they're stuck where we build them.
But hold on, because when we start talking about capacity, how much data the network can actually handle, the whole story just flips. A satellite signal is spread super thin over a massive area. Cell towers, though, they are built for one thing, density. They're designed to handle tons of users all packed into one small space.
And this really hits the nail on the head. Think of it like this. A satellite is like a single, giant highway trying to serve an entire state. It would be a traffic jam instantly in a city. But cell towers, they're like a dense grid of city streets, designed to handle all that urban traffic without breaking a sweat. So what about lag, latency? And look, these new low Earth orbit satellites are incredibly fast. We're talking 20 to 50 milliseconds. That's a giant leap. But you just can't cheat physics. A signal to a cell tower travels a few miles, tops. A signal to a satellite has to go all the way to space and all the way back. And that little bit of distance gives ground networks the win for stuff like competitive gaming, where every millisecond counts.
Right, and this gets at a really practical, everyday problem, reliability. To get a satellite signal, you need a clear shot of the sky. So buildings, thick trees, even a bad storm can get in the way. There's a reason your phone still works in your basement. That cell tower is close by, and its signal is built to get through walls.
Okay, let's put the tech specs aside for a second and talk about the money. Because the economics of building a network in space versus on the ground, well, they are just worlds apart. Get this, $10 billion. That's the ballpark of what SpaceX has poured into Starlink before they could even serve a single paying customer. It is a mind-boggling amount of money you have to spend up front, which is totally different from building out a cell network one tower at a time. And the spending doesn't stop, not even close. These satellites, they only last about 5 years. So that means you have to replace about a fifth, 20%, of your entire constellation every single year. It's a constant cycle of building and launching over and over again. So where do all those costs end up? Yep, you guessed it. Trickles right down to the user. The average annual cost for a residential hookup is over $1,000. Now, it's an amazing service, and for some people it's a game changer, but it's not exactly a replacement for a cheap mobile plan just yet. So when you lay it all out, a really clear picture starts to form. These systems aren't really competitors. They're specialists. Satellites are the champions of remote coverage. Cell towers are the undisputed kings of urban capacity. They're designed for completely different jobs. And that leads us to the real answer here. This isn't a replacement story. It's a story about integration. It's about teamwork.
Yet pretty much everyone in the know agrees the future isn't a fight between satellites and towers. It's a seamless, hybrid network that uses the absolute best of both worlds, combining the incredible go-anywhere reach of satellites with the massive data handling power of our ground networks. And you know what? This future is already being built. The official rulebook for 5G and now 6G includes something called non-terrestrial networks, or NTN. Think of it as a common language that's being built right into our phones, allowing them to talk to both towers and satellites, no problem. And you can already see this happening. The mobile carriers aren't fighting this, they're partnering up. T-Mobile is working with Starlink. Vodafone is teaming up with AST Space Mobile. All over the world, these companies are making deals to augment their networks, not replace them.
Okay, so what does this hybrid future actually look like for you and me? For the phone in your hand? Well, the roadmap for the next 15 years or so is already starting to take shape. It's a pretty clear progression. Right now, the standards are getting locked in. In just a few years, around 2027, you should be able to make calls or get basic data from space on a regular phone. By the time 2040 rolls around, the whole process is expected to be completely seamless, happening in the background without you ever knowing. And that's really the ultimate goal, isn't it? Imagine you're driving out to a national park. As soon as you lose cell signal, your phone just switches over to a satellite. No buttons, no special apps, it just works. Then, when you drive back into town, it switches back. The whole concept of a dead zone could literally become a thing of the past. So this whole revolution is going to connect the last few corners of the planet and get rid of dropped calls for the rest of us. It's an incredible leap forward. But it also leaves us with one final fascinating thing to think about. In a world with 100% coverage, what will it even mean to be truly off the grid?